Hi traders, how are you? Happy weekend! Vladimir Ribakov here from Traders Academy Club, and welcome to the weekly Forex Outlook and forecast for the week starting of 2nd to 7th of September 2018. First of all, thank you very much for watching this video and for finding the time for it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's helpful to your trading. If you do enjoy it, if it does help you, please show your support back. Hit the like button below the video. You can drop some feedback. It will be very nice on the comment section. If you have any instruments you want me to cover, which I did not cover, let me know. I basically go over my list, reviewing the previous week outlook and preparing this week, the most interesting opportunities as I see them. On Monday, I will be publishing the weekly Outlook PDF version, so just come back to the video. On the description you would find the link, also in the comment section, or just follow the emails and the newsletter, because I will be also emailing that. Before we start, I would like to wish for all those of you who have kids and start their new year during this week. I wish them a wonderful, successful, great year in all they will choose to do and all you choose for them to do. And I hope life keep leading them in the right direction, giving them beautiful, bright future. So best wishes from me to all the kids out there and all the parents out there. My kid is going, the big boy is going to the first class, and I am excited about it. It's new feeling. Alright, so let's begin. Back to the Forex. We go over the previous week outlook. But before that, it's very important to mention this is a non-farm payroll week. You know what? Let me just open that. This is non-farm payroll week. On Friday, it will be we will see the data to be published, the non-farm payroll and the unemployment rate. But before that, we have actually Monday would be starting probably slow because US, also Canada, are in day off, Labor Day here. We have a pretty busy fundamental week. Retail sales in Australia, that's tonight, Sunday. Speech from Bank of Japan, Governor Kurda, I'm sorry. We have a cash rate in Australia and Canada coming this week. GDP in Australia as well. ISM manufacturing PMI in US, inflation report in Britain, cash rate in Canada, as I said before, ADP, and basically the cherry of all is the non-farm payrolls. So let's go to our previous week outlook. Let's see how that worked out and how do we continue from here. So our first is the euro dollar. Our plan was to get the rallies, which we wanted to see here, right? Reaching the 61.8 and see a drop before we can start buying again. Basically, that's exactly what the euro was doing. We reached the level we wanted. That's the 61.8, right? We created a divergence there, and since then we got a beautiful drop down. Biggest question is what's next, and I will talk about it soon. So before we actually can decide what's next, let's go back to the core. According to the, let's remove the Fibos. According to the weekly, we are in a kind of triple double cycle here. Daily is a cycle by itself, of course. Now the question is, okay, so what will happen from this moment, right? Now the euro, from my point of view, is into buy dips. The biggest question is that a dip, or are we going to see something like that first? Both options are in play, and I will explain, because the euro on the second drop down, on this one, does not really have any divergence in play ending it. So the whole picture is relying on the weekly cycle. Now that could turn to be easily to be the main special cycle, and that turned to be the double cycle before we will see if it's new low or new high. The way I see that in the current situation is that we should be looking for buy opportunities with the dips to be created. So that was a triple cycle here. So now logically the euro is making the double cycle, and that could be deeper, that could be as small as that, right? But the drops should be providing buy opportunities. The best way to do that is to combine few time frames. So for example, if the daily now is bearish hidden divergence, 4 hour must be corrective cycle, meaning 2 waves to the downside. 4 hour like this, right? Or simply a range. So that could also make something like a range here before it makes a fly, right? And in order for the 4 hour to be corrective cycle, 1 hour must finish that with a divergence. So the idea here is you get the drops, you got a divergence 4 hour and 1 hour. This is the buy. Okay, so that's the whole plan for the euro dollar. The best levels to get into buys would be here, ideally by cleaning this low, ideally. So if it managed to get here, that's pretty much what we will want to see. Now the previous week, as you remember, we were talking about the most critical days for the Crystal Ball, and that was 27, 28, and the top was created exactly on the 28, right? That was our view. So once we reached here, that's the 28, we can see what's happening. Now we are back in the channel, getting very close to the buys. And for buys, right, we have the 5th as a very important day. So 5th and 9th. So on the first few days, the euro might still be trying to force and create the low. Once it's created with the bullish divergences, that's the time for the buys. That's the plan for the euro dollar. The pound dollar, our plan was to basically get a dip and buy, or a high and sell. Now the whole situation created with the pounds currently, for me it becomes a bit not clear, and I will explain. Because according to the weekly we are bullish and in a cycle and bullish divergence. According to the daily we are now in a bearish divergence, and this bearish divergence also is supported by the double wave. So that could be also a breakout and further continuation. Alternatively, the pound dollar is going for a triple cycle, so something like 1, 2, 3, then double cycle, breakout, and a new high. So basically there are too many variations right now for the pound dollar for me at that time being, and that's it. At such situation, it's basically the scenarios I don't love to deal with personally. Of course, there are methods that can work perfectly here. From my point of view, there are too many ifs, too many different views from the time frames, from weekly, daily, and 4 hour. Everyone shows something different. So I would not be dealing with this pair. For a long run, though, I would be looking to buy deep. So that could be back to here or a new low. For me, that still buys. And as I said before, alternatively, if it makes triple cycle 1, 2, 3, then it's again buy the dips. So that's the only approach I would be dealing with. As for now, the view is simply not clear, and any of the scenarios can still happen as it is. So that was the idea of the previous week, and that's what happened. So with the second leg here did not really create a new low. It was more like an inner triangle, and we gotta move up. The question is, what's next? What's next? Doors open. So for me, it's more like a neutral right now for this week. Next one is the euro versus the pound. We wanted to see this high, and that was pretty much the plan, to get the false break here. Okay, so we got this movement. Right, we got the idea there of the divergence. Now the question is, what's next? Now there is no classical false break, there is no classical lower low. So the reaction here, the full reaction, is basically due to the 161.8. Will that be enough for selling? From my point of view, personally, the answer is yes, and I would be looking to sell rallies here. The best scenario would be, of course, if we can get here lower lows making a real convergence after fake convergence, right? We got here lower low. That would be the best scenario for sells. But it doesn't matter how we turn it around. The idea was and remains now, as the 161.8 is respected, sell the rallies. So 1 hour chart is creating kind of special cycle here. That would be basically an opportunity from this zone, get the correction and look for sells. If we take a look on the crystal ball, the good days for sells would be actually, now again, pay attention to the top, was hinting by 29. It was 28 again, making the drop. So right, the crystal ball always helps us to identify the situation. And the next sell portion should be somewhere 6 or 8. So if we get rallies 6 and 8, should provide good sell opportunities. So we should be looking for the evidences to go and sell. So that's my plan for the euro versus the pound. Dollar yen, my view here remains simply not clear. It was kind of a plan of drops and buys. That's exactly what happened here on the short term. Drops and buys. It's completely not clear for me as for now. That could, you see the situation here, lower lows, higher highs, lower lows, higher highs. That situation that I don't love to deal with. There is no clear view from the mix of weekly and daily. Mix, I mean, last divergence on weekly is bearish, last divergence on daily is bullish, complete sad. I prefer not to deal with that situation. Personally, I think the chances are still to get some rallies, maybe to here and drop, or maybe for a new high and drop. I wouldn't be dealing with that. Keep in mind, this is non-farm payroll week. On non-farm payrolls week, statistically, the yen pairs tend to go to the upside. It doesn't mean it's a rule of thumb and let's just buy. No, it means that statistically, buy opportunities tend to occur more often than the sell opportunities during non-farm payrolls week. So really nothing clear from my point of view for dollar yen. I keep it neutral for this week. Dollar Canadian, also the idea was sell, get one more low, and it happened. Here we go. That was our low. We wanted to see the 129, 128 reach. 129 was cleaned, and now I leave it alone, and I will explain. Because according to the weekly, last divergence is bearish. According to the daily, last divergence is bullish. That situation can make any of this, so I put a big X on it. Simply untradeable from my point of view currently. I don't see any reason to deal with that. As simple as that. As I said before on the previous week, I think buy dips should be the direction. Simply because I expect this to happen. Triple, double, and I think this is going to 161.8. 161.8. Okay, so I think buys, but there is nothing clear from my point of view currently. If we get a drop here, it's a buy. Drop for a new low would be ideal, back to the trend line. It would be also, of course, for buy. So the way I see that right now, I prefer drops with bullish divergence for buys. Really not clear. Really not clear. Though. So dollar CAD for this week, for the beginning, of course, because it might go and change during the week, right? But for the beginning of the week, I don't see nothing clear personally. When it's not clear, my approach is stay away. Euro Canadian is a very interesting opportunity. Our plan was the sell on the short term and looking for the buys. The plan remains still. We have kind of a triple cycle here, so we might get it going and correcting. The idea here is get 2 waves and buys, or a range and buys. Okay, so our plan remains exactly the same, looking for dips and buys in the EUROCAD. Next one on the list, New Zealandian Canadian. Our plan was sell the rallies, and let's see what this pair did. Well, it never created really a new high. Instead of that, it was respecting this high and making the continuation down. So the plan is the same, sell. Looking to sell the rallies. So that could be the scenario like this, definitely, or that could be simply little pullbacks for continuation. The plan is continue the bearish momentum, weekly and daily and monthly even, still maintain the sell pressure, and 100 remains lower right here. There is a good chance we are going there. So for me, the New Zealandian CAD remains sell the rallies. Now the rallies could be created in any variations of like this, or of course small ones like this. So every sell format with your strategy that you use, followed by bearish pressure, meaning bearish divergence, should be a good sell opportunity. Okay. Aussie Kiwi. Now on the short term, our plan was to go for sell. That was our plan. So far, worked beautifully. We got a sell here, and the way I see that, this becomes the zone for buys. So we want to see the divergence here developing, and we want to see the turnaround, trend line breakout, and buys. Okay, so that's the two options we have here. Sorry, that's that's a bad drawing. That's the first option, and the second option is basically clear this clear this low and look for the buy opportunities right here. Okay, well, my nose is itching. Allergies are in their best in August. So that's for the Aussie Kiwi. Now if we take a look on the statistics, you can see that this week is going to be critical. 6, 7, 9, even the second, right? Critical days. So start looking for the buys. The best place would be if it managed to clear that. It's going to be a very beautiful buy opportunity. That's for the Aussie versus the Kiwi. Pound franc reached the level we wanted, below, well, basically making a new low. Let me just find that here. Here we go. We clean the 125 area. We make a new low, and it's time to start looking for the buys. So by ideal, another low, we need higher highs before we switch to buy opportunities. So keep in mind what we want: low, new high, drops and buys. That's our plan. Very simple, nothing to explain more than that. Now Aussie dollar was basically a failure. Aussie dollar failed with the opportunity. Now we wanted to see the buys here. Okay, we wanted to see that pushing higher. It did push higher, but it wasn't to make new highs, and it failed to continue and maintain the bullish view. It invalidated the previous low. Let's just remove that. Invalidation level reached, right? That was our invalidation zone right here. And game over for the buys. As for now, it remains unclear. It can easily make a false break here and fly, and on the same time continue lower. Both would be completely acceptable. If we measure the cycles in play, we can learn that 161.8 can be even around the psychological level of 0.70. So we can get there before we fly. So Aussie dollar for me, as for now, remains mainly bearish. So sell the rallies, I would say, unless it creates another false break figured and finished with the daily chart, then it would be sign to stop. But I think we are going to see some drop down on the Aussie dollar, so sell the rally still. Next one on the list, Aussie franc. We wanted to see possibly a new low. We got a new low, and that's very deep low, because the whole idea was to get this area and look for buy opportunities. We got a new low, we never got a buy opportunity. So the Aussie franc is a straight move down. As for now, there is nothing bullish on this pair, no divergence nowhere. So sell the rallies is pretty much still the plan on the short term right now. That's the only way it seems correct with the Aussie franc at this stage. So that's all. Pound Kiwi, our plan was bearish on the short term, and we got a bearish move here. It's a bit confusing because it was flying at the end of the week here. We got our bearish move here. Now look what happened. It was blocked in the triangle, so the move down happened, blocked, broken, and now we're in the new highs. The way it looks for the pound versus the Kiwi, it is bullish. So we got a breakout of the triangle. That was while holding the big range. So the plan is buy the dips. New Zealandian dollar. The idea of ours was to get a new high. We got a new high here. It wasn't enough to clean this top. It was on this area. And the question is, okay, so what's next? And honestly, everything is acceptable on the next for two reasons. One, the last divergence on the daily is bearish. Two, the cycle of the 100 becomes irrelevant because the second leg is much longer than the first, right? This is the first, this is the second. It's much longer. So there is a good chance the New Zealand dollar would actually try to go lower. Basically, the New Zealand dollar, I would not be surprised if the pair starts to be also under bearish pressure. We got a false break here, that might turn to be a range, or it could simply make kind of attempt of two waves here and a sell. Sell the rallies from my point of view. That's the way I would be looking to operate. Sell the rallies from my point of view is the correct thing here. I do think rallies could happen on the short term. I just don't think they are. They can be for trend changing right now. There is a good chance it's still to the downside. So that's for the New Zealandian dollar. And one more pair I would like to add. Actually, where is that? Here. Okay, we had two pairs. Pound CAD. We wanted a new low to look for the buys. We got the new low. Where is that? It was right here. Basically, it's kind of double bottom created, so we got it. Now, from my point of view, it's time to look for buys. So buy dips. Dips could be in any variations. 1, 2. The dips could be even attempting for a new low, but it's not to time to buy. Once there is a bullish divergence, and that's a possibility, right? Something like that. That could provide a buy opportunity. So once there is a bullish divergence in a direction, it's time to buy. It could be back to here, or still one more low with divergence. But we have now all the evidences for buys. Double bottom with the reversal. Beautiful engulfing right here. Beautiful retrace. Higher highs to be created right now. It's buy the dips right now. As simple as that. So previous week our plan was get new low. We got it. Now we have the highs. We got it. Time to buy dips once the bullish evidence comes in play. So we drop to lower time frames, right? And that's the best places to operate for buys once there is a bullish evidence, like a bullish divergence. EURUSD. Now EURUSD, I wanted to see the break of the trend line with lower lows. We never got it, so basically our plan never validated. But alternatively, look what does happen. We are going through the previous high, right? Completely eliminating the divergence. Game over, right? So what did I do? Okay. There is no divergence right now, and I want to show you one of the possible scenarios for the EURUSD right now. Because it never created a new low, it's time to check. So is the sell at all relevant? And if we check here on the monthly chart, look what do we find? That it was a triple cycle to the upside, 1, 2, 3. It was a double cycle correction, which now seems making the second leg. So we might see the EURUSD going higher towards 180, 168 or 170. So bottom line is that as long as this trend line, and there is no divergence, right, is holding, buy retraces would be a great plan. If we go to lower on the 4-hour chart, we can see that the EURUSD is pushing in triple descending cycle. So pullbacks back to here, any of the zones, and we should be starting looking for the buys further. As for now, the sell plan never activated. The bulls maintain their power. It is on the short term still bullish. And if we take a look on the crystal ball, trying to show us the best day to pay attention for the buys, that would be all the days coming in the previous week. So on the short term, if we get any retrace, that would be for buy opportunities. And for short term, we basically have 6 and 9 to pay attention to. That's where we might see the short term retraces making the pressure, building it up before we switch to buys again. Okay, so pay attention to the EURUSD. On the short view, we should be facing the retraces, very likely for that to happen somewhere from here. Okay, and this is also the 61.8 of the second cycle here, right? So once we get there, that's what we should be seeing, and there buys. So that's for the euro versus the AUD. Now few new opportunities that I see them on this week. CAD franc basically going and making this second leg. It should build itself around the 61.8. Or the 100. In order to make that happen, their divergence must be in place. So that means the daily must be supported by the lower time frames. It's not currently, so it's still sell the rallies. Okay, once the daily and 4-hour divergence come in play, that would be our reversal area. So sell the rallies for the CAD franc is definitely a good opportunity, especially when you put together this expansion. You figure out that it has a beautiful magnet zone right there, so it should make it lower before the divergence takes place, and we get a reversal. So short term sell rallies is good for the CAD franc. Now I've been asked about the euro versus the yen a lot recently, and I want to be clear with this pair. Like the yen itself, it's not clear. Last divergence on the weekly is bullish. Last divergence on the daily is bearish. Complete salad. So the way I see that, it should be doing two waves correction. That's what we currently have. It went to full expansion of the special cycle towards the 361.8, and it's now a pullback time. So we need the 1-2 and very likely for buy continuation. So on the short term, I would be looking for buy the dips, and that's the levels to pay attention to. 1, 2. So we got this or slightly lower before the buy is likely to take place. Once again, if you remember, I said before, non-farm payrolls week tend statistically to be more bullish for the yen pairs than bearish, and that's pretty much my preferences during non-farm payrolls week for the yen pairs. I don't think they are currently very excited to be traded. I think we have much better opportunities. Okay, gold and silver and other instruments. So gold, our idea was to sell the rally. We got the rally that we wanted to see. So basically, it's a sell right now. Looking for bearish setups. So that could be a breakout and a sell, right? We do still have the option to get it slightly higher above this area, the 100. Where is that? Here. Okay, the 100 area. We might still see the trend to push there before the sells take place, but now the plan is sell the rallies for the gold. Silver, the same. I would expect a new low to be reached by the silver until the next divergence takes place, ideally below 14. Sugar, that we had in our buy list, finally got us the higher highs. So sugar becomes bullish, and that could be retraces buys, that could even try to make a new low and buys. But now, after making the higher highs structure and the last trend line is getting broken, sugar become buy dips. And the indices, our plan on indices was and remain the same. That was our plan for German DAX. Get another push higher before the sell. Sorry, here. We got the push higher. We got a sell. So from my point of view, that's exactly the same plan for this week. Maintain the sells, even if that means push to new high. We are in a bearish pressure. The idea was and remains sell the rallies. NASDAQ, I wanted to see a new high with a false break to be created. So we got a new high. No, why it's always making it this way? But we never got a false break. So now it's time to wait until we get the false break, get the lower lows. It doesn't happen at this stage, so don't rush into bearish decisions. And a few of the cryptos, Ethereum versus the Bitcoin, reached the level which we wanted to see. So now we're looking for higher highs to be created, right? So a false break, higher highs, and buys. It takes some time. It might continue dancing around this zone, but after we create the structure of the higher highs, that would be the buy. And one more is Bitcoin Cash versus the Bitcoin itself. We got here a triple cycle. We got here a false break. So what we want is the break of the last high, and we switch to bullish mode. So that's what should happen here. Okay, Bitcoin Cash versus the Bitcoin also starts to be interesting. So that's basically all as for this week. The summer is over. September is back. Non-farm payroll is back. Don't be surprised if the first few days will be tricky. I expect the pace to get higher on the second part of the week. So that's all. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helps you to prepare your plan. As I said before, on Monday I'll publish the PDF. Some of the pairs are amazing opportunities. Some of the pairs are trickier. Some of the pairs are better to be neutral, as I explained at the beginning, like dollar yen, dollar CAD. That's all. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, remember the thumb up. It helps us. Your feedback on the comment section would help a lot. Feel free to share with anyone who you believe can benefit from watching this video. And I invite you to enjoy with us in the live trading rooms we have in the Traders Academy Club. The links to join us are below in the description. So I wish you a wonderful week once again. For all those of you who are parents and your kids are back to school, best of luck to them, and I wish them a fantastic year. Thank you guys. I'm Vladimir Ribakov from Traders Academy Club. I wish you a wonderful week. Once again, thank you for watching. Bye for now.